in 1989, one of the senior agents in our group came in, and he was where we're doing these multi-hundred kilo loads of cocaine. Pete was kind of a guy that would run and gun. He had an informant that he'd been working with for, I think, 12, 14 years at the time. He came in on a Friday morning and says, "Hey, guys, we're going to do a 17 kilo buy bust this afternoon."
Hmm.
But we actually was on the Thursday because it didn't go on Thursday, so we did it on Friday. And a buy bust is where either Pete loved working undercover, and he was fantastic at it. I mean, this guy had the gift of gab. He was having hair plugs, he's losing his hair, so he's having hair plugs surgically implanted.
Yeah.
He would go undercover with these bandages, oozing with blood. Who's ever gonna think he's the cop, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I know hair plugs are expensive nowadays, but back in the day, I'm sure it was hard to do on a cop's salary. So they probably be like, "Oh, this guy can't be a cop. He must be doing something on the side to pay for these hair plugs."
Oh, it was crazy, but so Pete and his informant, they were gonna be the purchasers of 17 kilos. So, buy bust is either where they're gonna buy or they're gonna sell the coke, and they were gonna buy it.
Mm.
And the price of coke back then was about 26,000 a kilo wholesale. So 17 times 26,000 is a lot. 52 would be, I don't know. Anyway, it's a lot.
26,000. So it's being sold for 26,000 in Miami.
Right.
What was the cost like for production and getting it to Miami? Because I'm just trying to figure out like the profit margin in
Oh,
my head.
return on investment is phenomenal. So it costs roughly $1,000 to produce a kilo of coke in Colombia, and your
Mhm.
transportation fees are gonna be $3,000 to $4,000 per kilo, so roughly 5,000 to get that kilo into South Florida.
Okay.
It's going for 26. Back in the late 70s, early 80s, those kilos were going for 60, $80,000 in South Florida.
What?
Yeah,
So you're talking almost a 20 times profit margin.
and
5,000 to 80,000.
even at
No, yeah, like
26,
15, yeah,
you're
that
getting 5 times return on your investment.
5 times return. Yeah, 80,000.
That's why so many people
Damn.
go into that. Now, don't get any ideas here, Zach.
Yeah, I mean, a long time ago, I
You're
was
starting to
in
rub
the
your beard. I can see those wheels turning, the dollar
Yeah,
signs are popping up in your eyes.
I'm just like, "Damn," "How much do I make a week from, my job plus podcasting?" It seems like a pretty good deal. I could, start some business on the side. To go back to the 17 kilo bus, because I kinda took us on a tangent.
Oh, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
you're 17 kilos, like, compared to the other stories, 4 or 500 kilo bus, like, to you, you're going into this thinking, like, 17 kilos, this is not gonna be anything. It's gonna be, a quick thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you wanna know the truth? This
Mm.
is a Friday. I don't know if you've ever heard of Federal Friday?
I've heard of Friday, so I assume it's a similar feeling that I get on Friday when I'm like, "I hope it ends at 2 p.m. so I
Yeah.
could get the hell out of here."
So that's what I mean, we actually just going out and doing a 17 kilo deal back in Miami in those days in '89 was a reason to get out of the office. We go knock these guys off, get them into the Metropolitan Correctional Center, MCC, and then we were all gonna we all lived up in Fort Lauderdale and up that way. We were gonna head home early. We were gonna meet our wives, or you could bring your girlfriend. You couldn't bring both at the same time, but you could bring your
Yeah.
wife or your girlfriend.
Freaky
And
Friday, that's what they call it.
there you
Freaky
go.
Federal Friday.
And we're gonna start the weekend.
Yeah.
But, Murphy's Law, just when you think you got everything figured out, something goes wrong.
Yeah.
What happens is 2 bad guys show up, they bring in 2 packages, and Pete's in there with his informant, and they're representing these to be 2 kilos of coke. Pete starts his field test on it. Next thing you know, they pull out guns. Uh, Kevin, my partner, and I, and a third guy named Lynn, we're the inside arrest team. We're hiding in the back bedroom. We've got 2 backup teams dispersed out through the neighborhood waiting on our call. We hear Pete out there begging for his life.
Hmm.
He's saying, "Please don't shoot me. The money's in the trunk. Just, don't shoot us. Don't shoot us." I peeked down the hallway and I saw the 2 bad guys. I saw Pete and the informant are laying on the floor. I can see handguns on the 2 bad guys. Hindsight being 2020, I should have just stepped out and shot them, but I didn't. I closed the door, got back in, got on the radio, got in the closet so they couldn't hear me. Excuse me. and, told backup, "Hey, this is a ripoff. Get in here now." They got Pete down on the floor. As I'm doing that, Kevin, my partner, walks over to open that door, and as he opens that door, the bad guy number 1 has his hand on the other side of that doorknob, so they're the width of a door away from each other when they open the door. We're trained to always identify ourselves. Um, you know, honestly, we didn't think that deal was gonna go. We didn't have bulletproof vests on, we didn't have raid jackets on. I had a badge hanging on a lanyard, like Miami Vice on my
Mm.
that was my identification. Kevin had the same thing.
Yeah.
Kevin yells out, "Police." Bad guy starts shooting at him with a .45 caliber pistol. I mean, they're literally just a few feet away from each other shooting. Kevin gets hit twice with .45 caliber slugs, once below the elbow, once above the elbow.
Ooh.
He wings the bad guy right alongside, but it just barely broke the skin. As Kevin falls down, he slams the door shut, falls down on top of me. Bad guy, the number 1, keeps shooting through that door. So Lynn is in there, the 3rd agent. He opens up. I've got a 9mm Colt submachine gun. We ventilated that door to get the guy to stop shooting at us.
Mm.
He runs out of ammo. Bad guy number 1 runs out of ammo, throws his gun down, takes off running out the front of the house. Now, bad guy number 2 is still in the living room. He's got a .357 revolver pistol. We didn't know this at the time, but he had HIV. He was dying from AIDS.
Mm.
He certainly couldn't run. He could just barely walk. As he's making his escape behind bad guy number 1, he turns around and fires 3 rounds back in the house about the time our informant stands up, and the informant gets hit right there in the Adam's apple. Number 1 had jumped in the getaway car with a bad guy number 3, which our outside surveillance forgot to tell us about, and they left bad guy number 2 there. So, we're there. I'm there with Kevin, and we've got pillows off the bed, and we're trying to hold, telling him, you're trying to staunch the flow of blood, and
Mm.
you're offering words of encouragement. And Kevin's a former Marine, and he was a sports psychologist before he became a DEA agent. And it had severed. We didn't know at the time, but it had severed nerves, so he wasn't feeling a lot of pain.
Mm.
And he looks up at me, and all he says is, "Go get that son of a bitch." Now that's my partner laying there shot. So I come up, I've got my machine gun. I yank that door open. There are techniques that we're taught to make it more tactically sound when you're trying to go around corners. And it's not like TV, because they don't show the right tactics.
Yeah.
It's not real exciting. It takes a
Yeah.
few extra seconds, but
What is it? Is it called? It's like slicing the pie or
that's
something
it.
like that.
That's
Yeah.
what we call it. And you
Kind of going
incrementally
slow.
come around the corner.
Yeah.
So I didn't use any of those tactics. I let my emotions get the best of me that day. I jerked the door open, come down the hallway with my machine gun shouldered up, and the first thing I encounter is the informant standing up, trying to hold his life in. I mean, blood spewing everywhere, and Pete is on the floor still in the living room, and he's just seen his informant of 14 years get shot.
Mm.
He's out of the picture. I just walked right on by the informant because I want to go get the guy that shot my partner. Come outside, and there's the guy that killed the informant, or had shot the informant. He lived another hour or so before he passed away,
Mm.
and he's walking down the sidewalk. I'm a hell of a shot with a handgun. With a rifle, I'm deadly. This would have been about a 20-yard shot right in the back of his head
Mm-hmm.
that I would have no problems pulling the trigger, but we're trained to look. What's the threat there? Does he still have that gun? He dropped it. He's not a threat now. I can't pull the trigger. And I make a big deal out of that. I tell that story whenever my old DEA partner from Colombia, Javier Pena, and I, we traveling around the world. This is our 10th year of telling the Pablo Escobar story. And I always tell that story about Kevin because that's what separates law enforcement from the bad guys. That's that thin blue line that you hear about all the time. You step across that thin. If I shot that guy in the back of the head, I'm no better than he was.
Mm.
Now, that's just what separates us. So had to take him in custody, and we finally got the other 2 guys, and they're all doing life in prison in Florida. But that's probably the most memorable. Kevin, it took him about a year to recuperate.
Yeah.
I think he had 8 operations.